Hi everyone, it's Heidi here with another quick project for you. Lots of you will have seen Pootle's recent post on some A7 gift cards, a really useful size to make some little thank you cards, and this is my version of those here. And what I really wanted was a little box to keep them in. Then you could either keep them nice and tidy yourself, or you could obviously give that as a gift to somebody, rather nicely presented. And what I've used here is some lovely new paper which is called Pretty Petals, and I've made some different note cards here. So what I've done is I've done two sending many thanks and two to make it better, and I've varied the design slightly. Here I've used an ink splat to create a background, and that's actually not from Gorgeous Grunge, which you might think it is, but from a gorgeous new stamp set called Awesomely Artistic, and that's a really useful set because you've got a lovely flower, a word friend, a dragonfly, which I know is really popular, the ink splat, and a couple of lovely fern fronds with a couple of accents as well, and then a stamp here which is I used on a card last week, which is like a burlap ribbon effect. So I've used that for the ink splats, and then on these cards you should be able to see, hopefully, that they've got a rather pretty embossed background, and that's using a lovely new 6" by 6" embossing folder, which Stampin' Up! Have just brought out as well. And a good old papillon potpourri for the butterflies, and then I've made a matching envelope using the envelope punch board, and on the back there I've just used a piece of card attached to some double-sided sticky paper, which I've then punched out, attached it, and then in order to get it to stick, all you've got to do is just peel away the rest of the backing paper, and there you go, you've got a little envelope closure as well that matches. So those are the 4 cards I'm making a box for, and you'll see I've used very vanilla cardstock for this for a change, and the reason for that is because of this new paper pack, which is Pretty Petals Designer Series paper stack, and there's lovely floral designs in here, but you'll see quite a few of them have very vanilla as the background rather than Whisper White. And you can see the lovely new Watermelon Wonder colour there, and this is the paper I've used. All of these are lovely double-sided papers, so you are spoilt for choice. So what you're going to start off with then is a piece of card that is 7.5 by 10.25. I'm hopefully going to position that so that you can see the top. Just zoom out slightly for you. Okay, so I've already cut the cardstock, so you're going to score this at, on the long side, 1 1/4, 4 1/2, 5 3/4, and 9 inches. Turn it, and on the short side score at 1 1/4 and 6 1/4. And don't do what I've done, which is skip up, trying to avoid the legs of my tripod, which is over the top there, but that'll be covered up by some DSP. And that's all the scoring you're going to do. So having scored that, what you're going to do now is burnish those folds, and if you haven't invested in a bone folder, this is the Stampin' Up! One, but they are a really useful piece of equipment when you're making cards and boxes. They just help you get really crisp creases, which when you're making a box or a card is really important. It just means that A, it'll fold nice and flat, and it just keeps its shape on a card when you stand it up. So fold and burnish, fold and burnish, and then all you're going to do is cut up, and this is a very standard box that I'm making here. You're going to cut up each of the score lines on either side, and then to get those nice neat closures, you're just going to cut a notch out of each of those tabs. Okay, as you see there, and do exactly the same on the other side. So cut up 4 tabs, or 3 tabs I should say. Trim either side, as you can see here. Okay, and that's your cutting done. Okay, now I find it's actually easier to decorate the box while it's still flat rather than trying to manoeuvre it. So I've cut some of the design series paper, you can see here, and what you need are 4 pieces, and they are 4 3/4 by 3 inches. You need 2 3 inches by 1 inches and 1 4 3/4 by 1 inch as well. And then because it's paper to paper, all I'm going to do is use some snail and stick those on. So quickly decide which is going to be your top and which is going to be your bottom, because I made a bit of a mistake there. It will be just covered up, so I'm going to put the paper on there. So again, just put your paper, just centralise it on each of the panels. And this is so quick and easy to do with these tape rollers. Again, another really good investment. I do use the tear tape as well, but for speed, especially if you're doing lots of them, I still find that it is really good to use these tape runners. Okay, so you've decorated your box. So now all we're going to do is fold up to create our box. So this is now using fast fuse. So again, because we're doing card to card, and don't forget to flick at the end there. Some people tick, some people flick. They actually recommend that you do it in alternate directions if you can, to centralise the tape. So there you go. All you're going to do is fold up, line up those corners. And I've done what I shouldn't have done, which is I've done the top first instead of the bottom. It's always better to do the bottom first, not as I've just done, because then you can get the top to fit. Okay. There we go. Right, so having made it, there you go, it just folds over the top. So there's your basic box. Now obviously it's very nice, but it could do with something a little bit more interesting on the front there. So all I'm going to use now is a stamp from one of our new Hostess sets, which is called A Whole Lot of Lovely. And again, this is a lovely design, and it's got some lovely sentiments on it. Thank you, you're fabulous, you're a whole lot of lovely, and a little floral design. And I'm using the You're Fabulous. So again, using the very vanilla to go pick up the colour in the paper. Bit of Watermelon Wonder, You're Fabulous. And then I'm just going to use the 2-inch circle punch to punch that out. And then a really easy way just to make it pop is to take a piece of, in this instance I'm using some Old Olive, which is another one of the colours in there. So again, just quickly punch a scalloped circle. And then all I'm going to do now is just pop that up using some dimensionals. Again, just make sure it's well supported. Just to finish it, always nice to put a bit of sponging, a bit of ink around there. Okay, so take the backing off those. then again, just 2 or 3 dimensionals on the back there before popping it onto the top of our box. And you could, if you want, to sponge the inks around the paper as well. I don't think it needs it personally, but personal preference. So there you go, there's your fabulous box. Open that up. In go your cards and envelopes. And there you have a lovely little gift for someone or just a store for yourself. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.